Hello, I'm Kano from Liquipedia, and today I'll just quickly run you through what the Notability Guidelines are or what they mean in specifics to Liquipedia. Oftentimes, people create pages and then they might get moved, and you think, hey, my page has just been removed, why has this happened? Usually, 99% of the cases, it's because the page didn't meet the notability criteria of that specific wiki. So, what are notability guidelines or criteria? So basically, usually wikis only have a certain amount of people that actively work on the wiki, and we want to have a sort of specific standard for pages to be on there, and therefore it's sort of or a limit of scope of what we cover. So let's say the Counter-Strike wiki only has 4 people. They just want to make sure that everything at the top, which most people will look for, is covered, and everything that falls below that, they just don't have the manpower to keep up with it, so therefore they won't cover it. So what this means is that every wiki will have different guidelines, mostly because the competitive scene looks very different from game to game, but also some wikis have more contributors and some have less, so it's more so about what can we do and how can we ensure that the quality of our pages is always high up. Also make sure obviously that for visitors, whenever they see a page, it's actually clear that hey, this is an important page and it's not someone who's just won one friendly cup they organize with their friends. So, what often falls under our notability guidelines? It's mostly players, coaches, and team staff for games, and same applies to teams and esports organizations. Usually it's, hey, we want a certain amount of results or tournament appearances from these players or teams before they are sort of notable enough to gain a page. So these are often, per wiki, they have different systems. I will run through a couple of different wikis' notability guidelines in a bit, but these are often what we consider, hey, there needs to be a threshold here, just so that we're not creating a page for literally everyone. The same goes for tournaments and leagues. Tournament pages are a lot of work to maintain. Again, sometimes wikis require a minimum prize pool before they cover it. Some want it to be are a bit stricter because of the tournaments scene and certain circumstances that have happened. So hey, we want to make sure that you provide a rulebook. There is a clear schedule. We can see who's on the roster. So basically all the information needs to be public so that we can actually properly cover this tournament and make sure there's no shady things going on. Other than that, we have broadcast talent, which same as players. We don't create something for everyone, just make sure there's a lot of events. Game-related content doesn't really have too strict of a guideline. Usually, if there is something part of a game and you want to create a page for, let's say, you're playing Apex Legends, you want to create a page for Pathfinder, that's fine. And if you want to create other specific related pages, just make sure to check with other contributors whether they think like, hey, how should we tackle this? And then something that falls outside of the notability guess is the user pages. If you have an account, you can create pages under your name, which means they're not in the main space and can't easily be clicked. You need to find the specific URL. These don't have guidelines and you can put anything there, and it's often where your page will get moved. So let's say someone's created a page but it's not actually notable. Editors will move it. It will never be fully removed unless there's obviously like explicit content on there or something that's against the rules, but usually it's just moved to a different space where only you can normally see it or anyone that has the link. So don't be feared, your work is not gone, it's just somewhere else. So yeah, let's go through some notability guidelines of other wikis. So for Apex Legends, for example, they use a system that some other wikis use, and they use a notability system based on points. So for players and teams, coaches and whatever, they can earn points by placing well in tournaments, and then they have a checker to sort of check like, hey, is this player actually notable? So you can type, for example, another hack is a player with a page. He has 878 points because he's played for 6 years. He's notable, and the checker will say so. So that's sort of how that works. You can just quickly check, hey, is this player notable? Yes, no. And you can also figure out, hey, is the page I want to create notable? So that's, I think, sometimes people often use, and the same goes for teams, like, hey, this needs a certain amount of rosters to be stick together. Sometimes it's, hey, let's say, for example, Team Liquid's a well-established esports organization. They have pages across 20 different wikis already. They're picking up a team in Marvel Rivals. Well, it's Team Liquid. It's a well-established esports org. Therefore, we can create a page here because people want to look for the new Team Liquid Marvel Rivals team. And the same here. It's a bit different. Leagues need a prize pool of $1,000. So that's that. Same applies for example. Now we go to CSGO. It's like, hey, there's guidelines. These change. they've decided, hey, any teams that are part of a major or have certain amount of prize money won needed to have competed in certain amount of events. Who's on the roster? Which are you in a major or a minor region? Is the team Oraclus? There's different rules. The CS wiki is very expensive. Women's teams and academy teams have different rulings. Players the same. It's like, are you part of a major? It gets complicated, but usually sometimes you can also just reach out in this kind of like, hey, it's a long list. Is this player notable? And someone with more experience can just tell you yes or no. So there's guidelines for more things. For example, if a transfer should appear, there's a guideline for it. For events, these have very specific rulings like, hey, we need this to be announced. There's also rules regarding the sort of the Valve structure here. Same goes for Dota, where it's like, hey, you need a rulebook. So that's sort of every wiki you will need this. And where can you find this? If you press contribute in the top, you have the typical edit article, Notability Guidelines. So you can find this on every wiki. I could go to Mobile Legends now, Notability Guidelines. They have the point system. So make sure League of Legends, same here, Notability Guidelines. There's a certain point result. You can find every wiki basically. And a good thing to know is these guidelines are not always final. The wikis change over time. We get more contributors or less contributors. We have a scene that might just change its whole tournament system, and therefore the way you cover it, things change. So therefore the notability guidelines change. So it's all up to sort of the ecosystem and how people change it. So if you disagree with the notability guidelines, I mean, like, hey, we can definitely cover more, or this thing should be notable, it's always something that you can bring up in a Discord and can obviously discuss. Just make sure to keep your conversation civil. But that's sort of a quick overview of the notability guidelines. Now, what I can also just quickly show you, let's say your page that existed, I can go to the recent changes here, find, for example, this player, I say, hey, he's not been notable. What people will do then is they will use the special move thing, and then, for example, I can quickly show this. So this is my user page. Normally, people would move this and then write move user and then go to noodles/Hamas. So what this would do is it would move the page to this page. I can quickly show it here, show preview. So your page would have been moved. It's no longer on main space, which means there's no blue links, but it's instead under this user page. And you can just always find it back here. You're free to do whatever you want in your user's page. A lot of people use it as like a sandbox to test out things, or just like, this page might be notable in the future, so I'll just save it here, and then once it's actually notable, we can just move it back into main space. So that's sort of a way to sort of save your progress there. Just always remember, your page did not get deleted. It's just been moved. Make sure to read the notability guidelines. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helped clear things up for you.